Perhaps one of the most interesting, yet secret or lesser known stories that's found in the epic Mahabharata is that of the love story, or rather, one sided and unfulfilled love story of Kach and Devyani. Once upon a time, in the celestial realms of the Hindu universe, specifically the Devlok, there lived a handsome young man named Kach. He was the son of Brihaspati, who was the esteemed guru of the Devas, the celestial gods. Kach was known for his intelligence and noble qualities, the very qualities that would go on to shape his story. The Devas were locked in an eternal struggle or war with their adversaries, the Asuras, or demons, and they sought to gain an advantage. They soon made a plan to send Kach to the ashram or spiritual hermitage of Guru Shukracharya, the guru of the Asuras, to learn the Mrita Sanjeevani Vidya mantra. And this was the knowledge that could restore life after death. So if somebody had been killed, this Vidya could be used to bring them back to life. This was something that was clearly giving the Asuras an advantage over the fight with the Devas, because no matter how bravely the Devas fought, the Guru Shukracharya would use his yogic powers and this Vidya to bring them back to life. This knowledge was crucial in the ongoing cosmic conflict. When the idea of learning the Vidya from Shukracharya was brought up in the Grand Sabha of Indra, everyone thought it was a great idea, and Kach, the son of Brihaspati, was the one who was chosen to go. Upon arriving at Shukracharya's ashram, Kach was warmly welcomed, and Shukracharya accepted him as his student. Because for a guru, knowledge has no sides, no enemies, and no bias. Any student who was faithful to the craft and keen to learn could be taken on as a student, and Kach was deemed to have a heart of purity. So despite being from a camp of the supposed enemies, the Devas, Shukracharya still accepted Kach as his student, his Sishya. Kach pledged to serve Shukracharya diligently for 1,000 years in exchange for the sacred knowledge he sought, not to mention it was very difficult to learn, and so it needed that amount of time. Kach soon immersed himself into the life of his guru's ashram, serving him and learning all the Vidya which his guru had to teach him. Learning the art of reviving the dead, as one can imagine, was not easy. It was one of the most complicated and advanced forms of learning, and Kach had to consistently prove himself worthy by working hard, learning, training, and practicing day in and day out, before he was even prepared to receive the ultimate gyan for which he had arrived. Kach was not one to give up, and no matter how long or difficult the training, he was faithful and guru. Kach also did his part in serving the needs of the ashram of Shukracharya, including the upkeep, and he would cut wood for fires, graze the animals, and help cook and clean when he was not engaged in his studies. Kach was as powerful physically as he was tender and humble. He always endeared to his guru with a certain humility and was always humble in his behavior with everyone at the ashram. Now this was Kach, and all the while there was also Devyani. Devyani was the beautiful daughter of Shukracharya. Her beauty was matched only by her grace and her elegance, and she was as revered as a daughter could be of one of the most powerful gurus to ever exist. Many Asuras were captivated by her aura, but she had given her heart away at first sight to Kach, ever since he had arrived at her father's ashram, despite knowing that he was the son of the Devas. Devyani was captivated by Kach's charm and intellect, and his bravery and devotion to learning Vidya. She would secretly hide behind trees as she watched him in his sadhana, and would wait for him to return to the ashram from his trips to the forest. As time went on, she fell more and more deeply in love with Kach. Now while Kach was busy learning and training, and Devyani was falling ever more in love with him, the other Asuras in and out of the ashram soon grew very jealous of Kach and his presence. They didn't like that he was warmly welcomed by Shukracharya, the fact that he was the son of the enemies, the Devas, and potentially here to steal their knowledge, did not go well at all with most other Asuras, but no one dared speak openly against Shukracharya because of his stature. Now much to the dismay of the Asuras, who grew suspicious of Kach's true intentions, they eventually correctly surmised that Kach was here to seek the secret of the Mrita Sanjeevani mantra, the life-restoring mantra. And in their jealousy and fear, they eventually plotted against him. Now, of the 1,000 years that Kach was here, 500 has passed since his arrival. And one fateful day, Kach, who had been tasked by his guru of herding cattle into the forest for grazing, was alone in the wilderness. And this was when the Asuras, who were jealous, they seized the opportunity and they ambushed Kach, killed him, dismembered his body into many pieces, and fed the remains to the forest's fierce animals. As soon as the cattle all returned without Kach, Devyani grew anxious. She was worried. She feared the worst, and she begged her father and cried in front of him to use his Shakti to restore Kach's life. Kach was not only driven by his love for his daughter, but also because of the purity of his student. He relented and he used his mantra to bring Kach back to life, who walked out unharmed and unscathed from the forest. A few more years later, time has passed, and Kach ventured again into the forest, this time to bring back some rare flowers to use for a yagna. But the Asuras, still envious, laid an even more deadly trap. So twice they attempted to end Kach's life, first by feeding him to wolves, and then by burning his body and offering it to Shukracharya. Yet each time, Devyani would beg and plea and cry because of her love for Kach. And Shukracharya each time would use his secret knowledge to bring and revive Kach back to life. Now this time, there was no way they could let Kach go. And in their third and final attempt, the Asuras resorted to a cunning plan. This time when they ambushed and killed Kach and they burned his body, they took the ashes and they mixed it with wine and offered it to Shukracharya as a drink. As darkness fell, Shukracharya discovered Kach's presence within him using his Shakti, and he was in a dilemma. Now he unleashed the power of the mantra and caused Kach to burst from his belly, and this of course killed him. With the mantra, he then revived Shukracharya, fulfilling his mission and eventually completing the rest of the Vidya of the Mrita Sanjeevani mantra, and his education was completed. With his tutelage complete, Kach prepared to return to the Devlok. However, Devyani followed Kach in the forest as he was returning home and was consumed by love and desperation. So she pleaded with him to marry her. She confessed that she was in love with him. However, in a heart-wrenching revelation, Kach informed Devyani of the truth, that Shukracharya was like his father because he had emerged from his guru's belly. He was as good as his son, and that made him consider Devyani as his sister. Devyani was devastated by rejection to find that her love that she had harbored for all these years had been one-sided, that Kach never reciprocated the same feelings she had and in fact thought of the relationship as being that of a brother and sister. Devyani went mad and she was angered beyond control, and her love turned to rage as she couldn't bear her rejection, and so she gave Kach a shrap. She cursed Kach, decreeing that while he had spent so many years and hard work in learning the Vidya that he had come for, he could teach it to others, but he could never wield the life-reviving mantra himself. He could pass it on, but he could never actually use it, and should he ever try, he would instantly forget the knowledge forever. Hearing this in turn, Kach was equally hurt and stung by Devyani's curse. So what did he do? Well, he gave her a shrap too. He cursed her in return, that despite her beauty and her elegance and being the daughter of such a revered guru, none of his people, no sons of rishis or sages or anyone from Devlok would ever marry her. And so with heavy hearts, both of them parted their ways, their paths diverged forever, they would never ever meet again. Thus, the tale of Kach and Devyani stands as a testament to love unfulfilled, sacrifices, and the endearing consequences of the power of destiny and duty in the eternal cosmic dance that is found in Hindu legends. Interestingly, it is also one of the oldest stories of love that is one-sided, of unfulfilled, unrequited love, especially because it's told from the perspective of a woman It's the woman who's pining, who's desperate for the man, and the man is the one who says no, who rejects the woman. Quite interesting indeed. So that's it for today's video, for today's story, dear viewers. The Mahabharata is indeed a treasure trove of such stories, as are the Puranas. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, dear viewers. As always, keep exploring and stay curious.